Hey guys, wanted to share a little story about sparring against Mr. Gillenwater, my instructor, and also against Dan. I won't say his last name, he's still with us, but I want to talk about how I like to throw a sidekick. I'm a defensive fighter. I joined the adult class when I was 11 years old. And I went in as probably a little cocky kid that I was winning in all the tournaments. I was winning around a lot. So I went in there thinking I was fairly good, and they were pretty quick to try to shut that idea down. So I got beat a lot in the adult class. I remember leaving the adult class, Mom, I don't want to come back on sparring nights. No more sparring in the adult class. But they kept making me come to class, and it made me a lot better. I started having to be a defensive fighter. When I was younger, I could go in and get the points, but defensive fighting is what I had to learn to do, especially against these grown men as I was a young teen, preteen. So, but Mr. Gillenwater and Dan, they used to spar. They were both left-handed, and I always liked to throw my sidekick because I was shorter, and Dan was taller as well. But what they used to do, and I have my bullies this way because they were left-handed, what they used to do, Mr. Gillenwater, he'd come in with an over-the-top punch a lot. So he'd come in with this front hand and just knock it out of the way because you'd throw up your block, and he'd just take it down and with almost like a Superman punch in today's stuff. But he'd just come in and boom, and he'd try to jump over anything that was there. Where Dan had a little more pace. I still remember if this was a starting line, his first step was he'd take over the center. He always took over the center. First step, and then I was always running around. But for Dan, what he would do is he would reach out and grab my front arm. Not too many people were fast enough to grab my front arm, and still to this day, like, we'll spar and people will try to grab it and move it around, but Dan could grab that arm, and he'd always come over with the left hand, bam, bam, 3 to the face. Now for Dan and Mr. G, what I would do is Dan would grab my arm. As soon as that would come out, he'd grab that arm, boom, I would blast him in the ribs. But Dan, I was telling the class tonight, Dan would let us hit him in class, boom, boom, boom. Dan would let us throw front snap kicks and just, all right, come on, give it to me. And he could take a hit. And he'd take my side kick and 3 over the top. Now I've broken ribs with side kicks in sparring matches, light control sparring matches, but I mean, if you're getting hit hard, you hit hard back. But Dan and Mr. G, like, I'm trying to kick this side of their body, going through this side, but these guys grab with follow-up punches, and side kick just didn't work on those guys. But I think I got some good ones in there over the years. Just sharing a story.